Okay, so I thought this would be a great time to go over airplanes. So what kind of airplanes are there in Supremacy 1914? Well, one, there's the bomber. Bombers bomb. You can see here my bomber is bombing where this bomber is about to sleep as it comes back around. This bomber is bombing an airfield. I set it to patrol, but I could also set it to attack. So attack with a bomber would do this much damage to land units. You click your bomber, your Air Force group. This is all the different damages that will happen right here. If you want to figure out what number is associated with what, look, boom, on the left. Normal targets. Why they're called normal instead of land, I don't know. Bite your lies. Naval targets. Look, 225. That's great, right? So yeah, I'm going to do this much damage if I did a normal attack. If I did a patrol, it's 25%. Now, I'm not a nuclear physicist. I'm only a chemist. But I also have a calculator. That's 56.3 damage. When you're patrolling, this happens every 15 minutes. Now, if you sit there for an hour, guess how much you're going to do? 25% 4 times. What is that? 225.2. That's why I'm patrolling. Because this target, if I click their army and I click their 43rd Infantry Brigade and I scroll down to their area, I go to air targets, they're going to deal my bombers 3.1 damage. I'm fine with that. I'm going to patrol. Now, so you do single attacks and you could do patrol attacks. The single attack will keep going too. If you go to bed and you hit that single attack and it's not completely wiped out, it's going to keep going back home, going here, going there. It's going to attack here, do its 100% damage, come back home, refuel, go back again, continue that. If they have a good army here, as you go to sleep, you're going to lose your planes. You also don't want to attack at night if you think they have an air force. And I can see his planes, so guess what? He has an air force. Maybe he's being a genius and there's like 20 fighters somewhere that are going to pop out of nowhere. I doubt it. He's Canadian. But yeah, those are bombers. That's how you deal with bombers. You want to be around with them. You want to be conservative with them. But let's get to fighters because I need to catch this bomber. So you can see the enemy bomber here. He's trying to mess with my artillery. Now my artillery's defense is 27.2 because I keep it with infantry and a balloon gives also good air defense. But I have the greatest defense of all, which are fighters. So I click the fighters. I'm not going to patrol because if I patrol here, I'll do damage, but I will scare him away. I want to just hit the attack button and I want to click it. You could see his dot right here. His dot is in my circle of range. If it was before, it wouldn't work because I'm not in range. So you can see I'm moving now. Let's see his bomber's health. His bomber's health is 48.3. My fighter's airplane attack is 60, so I will kill that bomber. Let's talk about air bases. So air bases allow you to produce planes, but also you need a factory to produce them. Airfields, airdromes are also the landing strip for using planes. Now let's go look at a plane over here. So you can see this fighter. I made it today. It's brand new. You can see its range, and you can see that I have an airfield right here. Look at that. I can fly. What if I don't have an airfield? What if I don't have an airfield here? Oh, I guess I'm a truck now. Yeah, I was a plane, now I'm a truck. And that's slower, but you don't want to be doing that. What you do is you have your double resources. When you're getting fancy resources, like you can see above here, you'll start building the airdrome with your level 4 factory. Your level 4 factory, yes. What do you do after you build the airdromes in your double resources provinces at your level 4 factory? Well, you start building fighters and bombers. Now you want to know your enemies. You'll want to assume, how can I make more than them without making too many? So I assumed that 2 dedicated factories, look at that dedication, would be enough to take out my enemies. Now, so far I've been right. 2 has been enough to dedicate these 2 factories at these 2 double resources to outplane the enemy. And I've been making a mixture of bombers and fighters. So you see here, a fighter was produced. Now I made a bomber. And I'm alternating because I don't want them to build only fighters and me to be have all my bombers docked, because I can't have them go out and play, because the fighters will come and kill me. Just like you see here, the fighters are going to kill him. Now, sure, I start off with bombers in the beginning. That's why there's a difference of 8-3. But you need to be producing more than your enemy. But you don't need to go overkill, because you need to build other things. You need to build artillery. There'll be times to build boats, etc. But yeah, that's production, movement. So I'm moving. So we talked about how you can move here and you can move here. You've built your airdromes and your level 4 factories. Now you want to also deal with movement. So this is a fighter, and you want to make sure, let me show you here. So here's your bomber. Now you want to make sure your bombers are never docked. So what do I mean by that? So right here, this arrow means they would travel on a truck. We don't want that. Here, you could see they're going to be traveling to this airdrome, and they're flying. You can see the curve. You can see it's going a straight line. Now let me grab them here. Pretend I'm being invaded by Georgia. He's bringing his troops. He's bringing his troops over here. He's attacking me. I'm just like, oh no. I got no one here. That's bad. Well, guess what? Let's get that bomber. Wow. Zoom out. Zoom out. Wow, look at that. You can see it's a perfect line. My bombers, not my fighter, that's why I had to show you with the bomber, can move everywhere. Look at that. You attack me in the coast, in the Caribbean, you try and invade my Cancun, my bombers are going to show up. And that's what you need to do with airfields on the second level. The second level is to have all your bombers being able to get to points of interest by flying instead of by truck. And then when you get really fancy, you want to get fighters. You want to get fighters to have the ability to get to the front lines by flying too. But that is the last resort. I don't even have that level right now. I could, but I don't right now. I'm pretty happy with just the bombers, unless I see some major air resistance with Maine. Now my artillery is defended. I have squid meat shield infantry, and I got a balloon. So the damage wasn't that much. You could see just a tiny bit of damage down there. I actually hurt him more. If he hits me again, I'll probably kill the bomber with just my ground infantry. But that's a great target. If I had 8 bombers, which I do, and he had a bunch of artillery, pretend I'm attacking this fort, he's, a smart Canadian, and he has artillery right here bombing me while we're fighting right here, just like I'm bombing him. What should the bombers do? Well, they should bomb the artillery. Bomb the group on the outside. If they're not like me, they won't be defended. They'll just be 5 artillery by themselves. That's a great target. Bombers are also great at bombing reinforcements. Reinforcements come in to assist. As they get there, the bombers take them out. No, you can't help here. You're not bringing anyone else here. These guys are trapped. These guys run away. Guess what? The bombers take them out. You get out of that fort, I'm going to bomb you. What else are bombers great at? Let's look at this. As you can see here, the normal targets is the same attack and defense as the naval targets. So what does that tell me? Bombers are great at blowing up ships. If you don't like to have an armada, if you don't like submarines like I have here, and I know my enemies have battleships and cruisers out and about in the seas, well, bombers can take them out. Bombers can be a great defense against navies. You can't attack with a bomber at sea because there's no aircraft carriers, but they are great at defense. Now for our next topic, I really want to discuss submarines. I know this is an Air Force airplane tutorial masterclass, but we need to get this figured out. So if we go to submarines, what can we see? Roles, stealth. Roles, stealth, it's anti-naval. What's naval? Transport ships. Being a stealth unit allows them to not be seen. How do you stop submarines? Well, in the airplane masterclass, it's very easy. You click your Air Force, you hit patrol, where you think they're going to be, where you don't want them to be. And then you have your army move in that area to land. And why is this? Why, if submarines are stealthy, I can't see submarines. Why would airplanes be able to see submarines? Well, let's not click at the bomber, but let's click at the fighter. Click at the fighter. Roles, anti-stealth. Here you can see scout can uncover stealth units. And that's a role that a fighter plays. It's also a role that I don't see a lot of people using. You should be patrolling your waters, taking out their sneaky submarines as they show up. Now you can see my plane is catching up to them. The speed is 216. The bombers is 101. It's actually 144, but he's hurt. And I'm going to catch up to him and take him out. These fighters, since they're not patrolling, they're attacking, and they will finish off their target, will go home and stay home. So what do you do if you're poor? So you're being invaded by the Squid Army. You're lonely Canadians. You don't have much going on. What can you do? Well, you don't do what they do. So see this video when it comes out and do the opposite of what this Canadian does. What does this Canadian do? Well, he bought a bomber as a poor country. If you're poor, you want to buy fighters because I'm going to have bombers. If you can out-fighter me, take out my fighters, you make my bombers useless. Look, you've made me waste resources because I won't have my bombers out here. Number two, you're poorer than that and you can't even have any airplanes. How do you defend against this onslaught of bomber nation? Let's actually go look at here again. I'm going to click this balloon. Look at this balloon. This balloon is very cheap and has air defense of 8. And you're like, oh, 8's not that great. Well, let's look at infantry. 0.6. A balloon's very good. Buy a bunch of balloons. If I was a poor country, I would have 5 or 10 balloons in my defensive spot. If I have 10 balloons, that's 80 damage just with the balloons hitting their bombers. Bombers only have 80 hit points. You take out a bomber, that's pretty good. What else? You want more than just balloons. Let's click at the armored car. What does the armored car have? Wow, the armored car also has 8. So what does that tell us? When you want to be escorting units, like I'm escorting my artillery, you want balloons and you want armored cars if you're suspecting heavy fire. So you don't even need planes. You can play the no plane game and have escorts of balloons and armored cars to your locations. So if I was facing a competent player, I wouldn't be doing this, for example. This is reinforcing this position as I take down this fort. I need more artillery there, so I'm bringing artillery there. Now, if I was a poor country and I knew my opponent had more than just that one crappy bomber, I wouldn't have 11.7 damage of air defense escorting this. I would have at least 50 infantry, and I would have a slew of blimps, balloons escorting them. That way, if they attack, the infantry will soak up the damage. The balloons will return the damage. You can also do it with armored cars. Balloons are just so cheap. Let's look at balloons. Look at that, 1,000, 1,000. How many balloons do you think you could have? You could have 50 balloons. All right, the patrol has happened. You could see I got a little hurt. Nothing crazy. It's a tutorial, so I'm going slow. Look at that. A little hurt. And they lost one infantry, which is great. They're in a fort, so they're protected by... They have a 59% damage reduction. The damage ideal is 25% because I'm patrolling. And that damage is split between the units and the building's health points. Look at the bomber. The bomber attacks the morale of a province. The bomber also attacks the buildings. So all of that is split up. And I actually can't tell you the percentage of this and that. The majority of the time it's on the units though. You could see he lost 2% morale. He's at 98. So bombers are also great at what? Blowing up buildings, damaging morale. So bombers can help take points of interest quickly. By damaging this area, I will have this army be able to take it quicker because it will be bombed. And it can move to its next target quicker. Bombers can kill reinforcements. And bombers are great at sniping artillery and taking out planes defensively. And that's that with bombers. Right now, I'm just going to show you this. The things I do for the boys. The Squid boys. We're here. 10 seconds. Okay, 5 seconds. 3, 2. Boom, it's gone. See that explosion? Right here? That was me. That was me winning. That was me beating Canadians. That was me being happy. All right, I'll talk to you Squid boys later.